Angel visits Mary. Angel visits Mary. Sleep story. In a small, quiet town nestled among the gentle hills of Galilee, there was a place called Nazareth. It was the kind of town where the mornings came softly, where the light crept slowly over the rooftops, warming the pale stone walls, and the air carried the faint, sweet scent of olive blossoms drifting down from the hillside groves. In this peaceful town lived a young woman named Mary. She was gentle and kind, with a quiet spirit that seemed to settle the world around her whenever she entered a room. She was known to all her neighbors as someone who moved through life with a kind of still, unhurried grace, a woman whose heart was full of faith, and whose days were simple and good. Mary was betrothed, promised in marriage, to a man named Joseph, a carpenter whose steady hands built things meant to last. He was a good man, a patient man, one who measured his words as carefully as he measured his wood. Though their wedding day had not yet come, their futures were gently intertwined, like two roots growing slowly toward one another beneath the quiet earth. One evening, as the last amber light of the day lingered on the horizon and the world began to soften into dusk, Mary was alone. Perhaps she was sitting in the stillness of her room, the day's work done, her hands folded quietly in her lap. Perhaps the oil lamp beside her threw a warm, low glow across the walls, and the sounds of the town outside had begun to hush. And then, something changed. The air around her seemed to shift, not with a sudden rush or a startling noise, but with a deep and sacred stillness, the way the world goes quiet just before something truly extraordinary occurs. And there, in that hushed and golden moment, an angel appeared. His name was Gabriel, and he had been sent from God himself. Now, angels in the ancient stories were not always gentle-looking things with soft wings and smiling faces. They were beings of such radiant, overwhelming light that the first thing Gabriel said, as he always said, as angels always must, was, "Do not be afraid." And he added, in a voice that was somehow both vast and tender, "Greetings, you who are highly favored. The Lord is with you." Mary's heart quickened. She looked at this being before her, this messenger of light, and she turned his words over carefully in her mind, wondering what kind of greeting this could be. What did it mean to be highly favored? What was this presence that had stepped so gently, so powerfully, into the quiet of her evening? Gabriel, seeing her wondering, spoke again. He told her not to be afraid. He told her that she had found favor with God. And then he told her something that no human being had ever been told before. He told her that she would conceive and give birth to a son, and that she would call him Jesus. He told her that this child would be great, greater than any greatness the world had known. He would be called the Son of the Most High. God would give him the throne of his ancestor David, and his kingdom would never end. It would stretch beyond time itself, beyond the edges of every age that had ever been or would ever come. Mary listened. She did not faint. She did not run. She sat with the words, the way you sit with something too large to fully hold all at once. And then, with the quiet practicality of someone who is truly, deeply real, she asked one question. "How can this be?" she said, "since I have not known a man?" It was such a human question. Such an honest and grounded question from a woman standing in the middle of the impossible. Gabriel answered her gently. He told her that the Holy Spirit would come upon her, and the power of the Most High would overshadow her, the way a cloud sometimes settles over a mountain, soft and enveloping, covering it with something sacred. The child born to her, he said, would be holy. He would be called the Son of God. And then, as if to offer her something solid to hold onto in the midst of all this wonder, Gabriel told her about her relative Elizabeth. Older now, a woman who for years had believed she would never have a child. Elizabeth, he said, was already 6 months along. What had seemed impossible had already quietly begun. "For nothing," said Gabriel, will be impossible with God. The room was still. The oil lamp burned its soft, steady light. Outside, the town of Nazareth breathed in and out in the gathering evening, unaware that something was shifting in the hidden places of the world, something slow and deep and eternal, like a tide that had been turning long before any of them were born. Mary was quiet for a moment. And then she spoke, and in her words was everything: trust, surrender, courage, and a kind of profound, unshakable peace. "I am the servant of the Lord," she said. "Let it be to me according to your word." And with that, Gabriel left her. The room returned to its ordinary quiet. The lamp still burned. The evening air still drifted softly through the open window. The stars were beginning to appear one by one in the deep blue above the rooftops of Nazareth. And Mary sat in the stillness, this young woman, this chosen one, carrying now within her the most extraordinary thing the world had ever held. She did not fully know yet what all of it would mean. She did not know the roads it would take her down, the joys and the sorrows woven together ahead. But in that moment, she knew what she needed to know. She had said yes. And the world, in its quiet and unhurried way, had changed forever. And somewhere in the heavens, Gabriel turned homeward, his errand complete. One small, sacred conversation between a messenger and a young woman in a lamplit room in a little town on a hill, and yet somehow the hinge upon which everything would turn. The night came on gently in Nazareth. The stars multiplied above the sleeping rooftops. And all was still, and all was well, and the world rested in the slow, deep quiet of a mystery just beginning to unfold. Rest now. Let the story settle softly around you like the evening air over Nazareth. All is peaceful. All is well.